happy only 2 teams on bye week, I think, this week, so it's a little bit easier, but, I mean, there's injuries galore now, so have fun with that. I'm Zach Bruner. In the middle is Trevor, who is taking shots at casuals who like PFF, and then Henry John on the right. Trevor, you had something to say, so take it away.
Well, first of all, I just want the people to know that the part that is cut off is football. So PFF is for casuals who don't know football. And also, shout out to the Brewers social media guy who hooked me up with this and a bunch of cool shirts. A shout out to you, everybody. Go buy Brewers stuff to make it up for him. I love that guy. So anyways, that was it. That was really it.
What the heck did you do to get that?
He's just our neighbor. I was trying to think of something clever, but there's nothing more than that. Sorry, Zach. I know that's too much baseball.
I only caught the end, so I'm not sure what you got. So,
the World Series starts tonight, Zach.
I know. Go Astros. I'm a big Astros guy. They've suffered enough adversity over the years. I feel like they've earned it. Is that fine to say? Like, I feel like a lot of people have been hating
off the screen.
A lot of people have been hating on the Astros, and I guess I just don't get it. Like, they've just been playing clean, good baseball. I almost said football. Baseball all year long, and it's they hit it so well. So well. Go Astros.
I hate this.
Okay, let's talk about football.
Yeah.
Actually, oh God, I turned my fan on high because I put my computer over there. Okay, we're fine. Everything's good here. I'm not flustered.
Can't handle the heat.
Baseball.
Week 8, right? So much stuff going on, and so many players to pick up. So many. I'm going to type in injuries that occurred. I know the big one is Miles Sanders. He's not ruled out yet. He was carted off. He avoided significant injury. Everyone's going to be rushing for Kenneth Gainwell, rightfully so. He's a stud. He's very good. I don't think he's going to get a larger role. And that's just off of what I know about Nick Sirianni. And the biggest thing everyone knows about Nick Sirianni is that he's a big, dumb doofus. And I think that matches everything here. So in my personal opinion, I think Boston Scott's going to be promoted into the Miles Sanders role. I think Kenneth Gainwell is going to keep the same role. Does that mean I think you should pick up Boston Scott? No. I think if you're picking up one of them, I think it's Kenneth Gainwell. If I'm playing DFS this week and I want to play one of those two against the Lions, it's going to be Boston Scott every single time. I know you two also like Kenneth Gainwell. So obviously my opinion is not going to be a popular one because just looking, you would think the number 2 running back is going to be elevated. So sell me on why you think it should be Kenneth Gainwell.
Henry, you can go.
I mean, it's a tough sell that Gainwell is going to have a stable enough role to, I guess, have a stable fantasy floor. In my opinion, talent-wise, it definitely should be Gainwell. But even looking at last week, Boston Scott had 7 carries compared to 5 for Kenneth Gainwell, and Miles Sanders had 6, obviously, before he went out. Now, Gainwell, I think from a receiving standpoint, I would say he's the guy to look at there. But Zach, I'm kind of inclined to agree with you. I think Scott is going to fit in here. The Eagles, not a team to necessarily rely on one running back, right? Like, I think a lot of people hope that Miles Sanders would be a lot more consistent from a fantasy angle and a touches standpoint than he's been this year. And Kenneth Gainwell's kind of been chipping in there. Sanders can catch the ball, and Gainwell has had a role as a receiver. It's tough for me to make an argument that Scott is not going to be involved here one way or another. Obviously, he can catch passes as well. I'm a Gainwell guy, but I'm also a Boston Scott guy because, the Eagles kind of had to ride him there for a while when I was on that bandwagon living down in Philly. So I like me a little Boston Scott too, but I don't really know that I love either one of them from a fantasy standpoint, much like I don't really love much of the Eagles offense right now as a whole outside of Jalen Hurts.
I got a throwback to season 1 of Trevor with Flurry Sports. Trevor Land deep dive here. Kenneth Gainwell has 3 times played 35% or more of the snaps. Every single time he has scored at least 11.3 points in half PPR. I think there is no way in hell that he doesn't have 35% of snaps at least again. And this past week he had 51. I think that'll go down a little bit, but even if it does, all he needs is 35% or more to be productive. He's running back 30 right now in half PPR with barely any run. He's going to get more. I'm not saying he's going to be a great play, but I think he's a heck of a flex. And if you have injuries, I think even an RB2. Because to your point, I don't think he's going to get much work, but he's proven all season that he doesn't need much work to do his job. And with the matchup against Detroit, they're certainly not going to be losing by a lot. And if they are, even then, Gainwell's going to be there. Gainwell's going to be their guy. So I'm confident.
Yeah, I think that's the important note here. So it's tough because Boston Scott was the receiving back last year when Miles Sanders was sort of the early down guy. We've seen Gainwell replace Boston Scott in that role. Last week, obviously, they were down by a shit ton against the Raiders, as they have continued to do every single week. This is one of the games that I have been tasked to like really break down this week and give predictions for. So I've already done that. And I think the Eagles are going to win, but I think it's going to be a field goal, and I think they're going to have to fight back. Like, I think the Lions are going to be leading at halftime. So if you're of the thought that the Lions really suck and they're going to be losing the entire game, you have to ask, do you think Boston Scott now is just the early down guy, or do you think they think Kenneth Gainwell is the early down guy? Like, it's so confusing because you have two receiving backs now. Honestly, this is something. It might be Jordan Howard. I believe he's still. Yeah.
There's a name.
Why?
It's the Eagles, dude. It might be Jordan Howard.
To further that point, for those not like necessarily super familiar with Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott, Gainwell's 5'9", 201 pounds. This is listed height and weight. Scott, 5'6", 203. Comparable size, comparable skill set. Which one are you plugging in as the ball carrier and which one is the pass catcher? I'm not really sure that we have an answer. And even if we think we can come to an answer by the end of this discussion, like I could totally see Sirianni and the Eagles just going the complete opposite way or doing something like Jordan Howard, which would be kind of funny. And I'd be here for a little blast from the past plotter.
Yeah. What's up, Brad?
Howard. Dude sucks. Dude is not good. I do not like this man at all. Man. He does nothing he does nothing but come in and ruin everybody that I love. First it was Myles Gaskin. Now it's Kenneth Gainwell. And I will not stand for it. I just with a team that doesn't run the ball and refuses to, even with great running backs, I just don't see them utilizing Jordan Howard out of the blue. Like, it would make sense in terms of stupid, in terms of doing something stupid for Sirianni, but it just doesn't make sense to not use running backs and then say, hey, let's put in the third guy for me.
Just talk to Brad in the chat here. Okay, he's cool. He sees us. Hello. I don't know what's going on.
I was gonna say I see us. So
yeah, I just brought up the YouTube thing too. Sorry, I'm doing multiple things at once over here, but I like Jordan Howard. I think he's an extremely talented ball carrier, and I think he has really good vision. He's just always hurt. Right now, he's not hurt because he hasn't seen a touch since like 2003. So I think he's going to be fine. If it just wouldn't surprise me if he leapfrogs all of them, which is frustrating for everybody, but it's a good nugget to have for DFS this week. Otherwise, if I'm targeting one to pick up, it's Kenneth Gainwell. I just don't think he's going to see that big of a jump.
You want to know a good nugget on Kenneth Gainwell? He is my size. It has the speed of a cheetah, but yet is built like a Mack truck because he's got 40 pounds on me. 200 pounds, 5'9". That is a specimen.
So, all right, here's my question for you guys. If I'm sitting in a league where I have fab budget, start the year, we'll say with general $100, how much of that budget are you willing to put on Kenneth Gainwell in waivers this week?
Are you
Because for me,
starting
it's
them, or are you
not
just picking them
much.
up for like what?
Stash.
I wouldn't stash them for a penny.
Yeah, I guess we would have to go in the case of, okay, maybe you had a Miles Sanders and you just need to fill that role. I mean, Sanders has dropped into RB3 flex territory, not nearly what he was drafted, but we'll say we need at least, like a flex start here or something. How much would you be willing to put?
None.
None.
I think chances are, if you're in a league with people who know what they're doing, he's probably already picked up. Not that he's that great, but I mean, his production is there. But I would do none because, as much as I love him and he's a great piece, until Sirianni shows us he can do anything, I'm not convinced that he's going to be a guy worth of any money.
Sure. I'm curious to see what
his
ownership is, actually. Go ahead.
It is like in ESPN, it's ridiculous. It's like I have it up right here. It is 26%, which is just a joke as running back 30.
Pathetic.
But anyways, you know what? I feel like we can jump into some of these questions. We got a couple that just went flying in. Jay, too nice. Need 2 wide receivers for this weekend. Julio Jones, Cortland Sutton, Marvin Jones Jr., Jerry Jeudy, and Chase Claypool. For me, I'm going Claypool for 1 for sure. Just because with Juju out, who does everybody else play? I wouldn't touch Jeudy with his injury. I want to touch Julio. He hasn't been good recently. Between Marvin Jones and Sutton,
Marvin Jones will be playing the Seahawks. Julio Jones will be playing the Colts. Cortland Sutton will be playing Washington.
I'd go Sutton and Claypool
then. Yeah, I think same. I like Sutton quite a bit. I don't mind Julio, though. I think Julio has a big game, but I like Sutton more.
Yeah, so the Titans are going to have to throw against the Colts. I know we have Derrick Henry and all, but the Colts are actually the top adjusted defense against the run. So, they held Henry to, I want to say he had a decent yardage game, but never found the end zone. The first meeting, a meeting that the Colts had a +3 turnover margin and somehow lost because Carson Wentz was on 2 sprained ankles. So I want to say Julio, but it's tough. You know what? I'll go Julio and Sutton. I still have trust issues, I think, with Claypool just a little bit.
We got Robert Thompson here. Hello, LULLOL Marcus123. Hello from Twitch. We got a question from Robert Thompson. I received Dalvin and DK. I give up Najee and Justin Jefferson. I won't touch that at all. Najee's offensive line is bad, but they'll just do checkdowns all day long. Dalvin, injury up and down all around. DK is nothing without Russell Wilson. I mean, obviously he had 96 yards and a touchdown this week, but that was thanks to Marshawn Lattimore falling down and the safety simply just flat out missing on a tackle. So I'd keep Najee and Justin Jefferson all day long.
Same here.
Yeah, likewise. Even with
Germany
Wilson in there for almost all these games.
Jefferson international here. I'm talking to someone from Bangladesh about someone in Australia. We got someone from Germany watching. What's going on?
How's Germany? You know what? I got to get to Germany. I'm like 25% German. That's enough to get a passport there, right? Or not a passport, citizenship, right? Sounds good.
Sure. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. You pay anybody enough money, you can get a citizenship.
Well, shoot, if that's the case, I could be like a citizen of like so many places.
Do it.
I don't even know what 25% of me is because my grandpa was adopted. So
take a 23andMe test. I'll get a sponsorship. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they are. Hey, I found a lot about me. I actually took one of those tests, man. You'll never believe it. He said speak German. I don't know if he wants me
Guten Tag, little Marcus. Okay, what do y'all think about
Oh.
Allen Robinson potentially going to the Raiders, Chiefs,
Hold
Washington,
up.
etc.? Some rumors going around. Well, he's currently on a franchise tag, so I don't think that. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they're just going to write it out, and then the way he's giving zero effort this season, I think he's just going to walk. Probably go to Detroit would be my guess, and that's real because he's from Detroit.
I will speak German. What is it? Ich liebe Germany, right? I love Germany. Is that it? Ich liebe Germany, right? I know Ich liebe dich is I love you, but I don't know.
I
Either
know
way,
Mein Kampf is my struggle.
okay.
And
Okay.
Lil Boozy just named his documentary "My Struggle," and nobody told him. I'm like,
Oh,
Boozy,
God.
my
Okay.
bad.
Well,
Someone should have told him.
back to Ich liebe Deutschland. There we go.
Oof.
There we go.
I mean,
I didn't sound
you said
mad
it better
enough
the
saying
first
it,
time.
but hey, about I don't know how to read that, Marcus. I apologize. What y'all think about A-Rob? I don't see it either. I mean, he gives no effort. I don't feel bad for him though. I mean, I've said this time and time again. He picked the Bears between the Bears and Packers. Did he really think Mitch Trubisky was going to make him look good? I mean, he has looked good, but imagine what he'd be looking like on Green Bay. That would be something.
Yeah, I can't say I think too much of that situation as of now either. So
we got Noah Dronto in here that Zach passed. So mean.
Sorry, I got excited.
apologies, Noah.
Should I trade DK and Saquon for Najee Harris? I have good receiver depth and I need a healthy running back this week because I'm 2-5. Absolutely. I hate Saquon Barkley in fantasy. As a player, he's good, but he has no line. DK is nothing without Wilson, like we talked about. Najee Harris is a stud.
Yeah, I think at this point I would have to look at that and consider it as well, even though I was a lot higher on Barkley coming into the year than you guys were. The injuries are just too much to deal with, and Metcalf is dealing with an injury that isn't his own in the form of Geno Smith playing quarterback for the Seahawks. Yeah, Najee Harris has got stable PPR value, so I think especially if it's PPR league and you're going to be getting those checkdowns each week, go for it. You're in win now mode, like it.
So I got a question since we don't have any questions at the moment after we answered them all. What do you guys think about Kenyon Drake? Because I think we talked about with the new coach, obviously he'd be used more. He hasn't been used a ton, but he's been super productive when he has. Is he a guy that you're thinking, will start to get snaps and can be flex play from now on? Or is he still kind of wait and see?
Well, I think if Josh Jacobs if he has to miss time, I mean, I know they're on bye this week, but if he has to miss any time, I think Kenyon Drake has a nice floor week 9, and after that, I would already consider him a flex play. I wrote about him as a sell high last week after the first big game in a 16-team league. I mean, he is garnering trade value, trade interest from a lot of different people. So I would capitalize on that performance and sell him for something more stable. But now with the situation evolving, he might be a guy that you want to hold unless you're getting an absolute premium return for him, because I think he does have a role there. And Zach, I feel like it was you, because you're typically smart with these things. You said a few weeks back after Gruden left that you could see Drake taking on more of a Hunter Renfrow role because Renfrow was Gruden's, what do we want to say, boy crush?
White.
I don't know. Yes, White, sure. But that seems like it has happened because he's getting run in the pass game. So if Jacobs misses any time, I think there's a lot to like there.
Yeah, I started Mike Davis over Kenyon Drake, and
that was
Hey, I
bad.
started Mike Davis one.
I lost by 1 point to DK Metcalf and the Saints defense, who got 2 bullshit sacks in the last 3 plays. So I'm not happy with Kenyon Drake right now.
With Kenyon Drake, though, like, yes, he got the 2 touchdowns 2 weeks ago, and then he got an increased role this week because Jacobs left. It's not a fluke. It's a fluke in those situations specifically because the Raiders have been up by 30. But the Raiders aren't going to be up by 30 every game. So as soon as they're trailing, that's when Kenyon Drake's going to actually have a role. It's just right now circumstances made him valuable. People are thinking, oh, this is a sell high moment because of that reason. But at some point, the emotion is going to come down. They're going to fall back down to earth. And then when they're needing to move the chains on a 2-minute drive, instead of Hunter Renfrow getting all the calls, I think that's where Kenyon Drake gets at least work. Whereas the first few weeks, he wasn't getting anything.
So we got Kellen Brown, Eckler and Diggs for Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Hawkinson. He gets the Eckler side, and Schultz is his backup at tight end. I think 100%. I think you sell high on Michael Thomas. I don't buy him at all. Kamara's good, and I think it is a little downgrade to Eckler, and you're worried about injury there. But Hawkinson has been trash all season, if we're being honest. And Diggs, I mean, he's got a stable floor, so I'd take it.
This is really close for me. Yeah, I like Hawkinson more than Schultz for sure. Rest of season. Yeah.
Season, okay.
Yeah, I think it's close. I think it's closer than people would like to believe, but I think it's close. I think I'd still go with Eckler and Diggs, though, just because I think Diggs is going to be in more big games and see more targets. You're rolling the dice because I think Kamara is definitely better than Eckler, and I think Eckler is going to get hurt pretty soon. But again, I don't want to make a decision based on I think this guy's going to get hurt pretty soon. I think that's kind of a bullshit way to play, but yeah, that's my opinion. I would do the trade.
So my first reaction was to look at the Saints schedule, and kind of a mixed bag the rest of the way. I think I would do it. And the main reason I would do it is because you're trading away 2 Saints. And based on the inconsistency of Jameis Winston, I'm okay with that. Now, Kamara is, had a pretty stable role as long as they're able to get him the ball and realize they need to do that week in, week out. Michael Thomas, we don't know what that's going to look like when he gets back. How motivated is he going to be? Will Winston look his way? And, you're selling 2 guys here from an offense that I guess for me, you guys, both took the trade. So I feel like you're sort of in the same boat, is take it or leave it. I just don't trust it. I don't trust Winston. And you're getting 2 guys back who have stable roles in offenses that are a couple of the best in the league most weeks. So I would have to do it. I think I can live with Schultz as a backup. Can only stream tight ends in if I have to, I guess, on a weekly basis. So I'm here for it.
Then we got Matt, who is a St. Louis Blues fan, so it's not great, but we'll forgive you. What's your guys' thoughts on Kedarius Toney? I think he is one of the most elusive guys in the NFL and will be a superstar. I'm just worried for him on the Giants, like really everybody else. Like, yeah, you can be as Giants good as you want.
Guy's going to be a superstar. That's hilarious. That's
really fun. Could be however good you want, but it's the Giants. Like, their coaching staff, I don't think is good. I don't think their offense is any good, even though Daniel Jones is solid. I don't want to talk about it, Matt. I'm a Blackhawks fan, so I don't want to talk about it.
That's worse. Yeah, I'm on Matt's side now. Blackhawks fan.
Yeah. What do you? Yeah. What? Shut up. But anyways, like, gotcha. Yeah. There you go. It's just, I almost said the Blackhawks. The Giants are just tough. They don't have anything good going for them, really. They have a solid defense, but in terms of superstar, I think he needs to go somewhere else.
Yeah, he is super athletic. He's super elusive, to your point. He's not that freak that Tyreek Hill is. Like, I think he's very fast and elusive, but he's someone we've seen before, whereas Tyreek Hill is just on a different level, and all of a sudden he's built and can barely get hurt, and, all of the above. Tony's getting a lot of benefits from everybody else around him being hurt, including him, I guess, now a little bit too. But if everybody's healthy, I think the Giants staff will put him on the sideline again, unfortunately. I don't think that's the right thing either. But you're asking Jason Garrett to be creative with someone who's not a gimmick player, but he's a playmaker. He's not a receiver. He's a playmaker. Running him on jet sweeps, running him in motion to do all these other things. That's just not Jason Garrett. He's running a 2003 offense, and he has a 2020 player, and I don't think that works out. Definitely not a fake throne. I think it's a fake throne. That's definitely a fake throne. Sorry, Henry. Did you have something else to say?
I was just going to say I pretty much agree with those points. The only one I'll disagree with on Trevor's part, I actually still like Joe Judge as a coach. I do not like Jason Garrett and the offensive coaching the Giants have, to Zach's previous point. And I also just real quick want to shout out Dante Pettis, wide receiver 17 in fantasy this past week. And he also threw for 16 yards in the blowout win of Sam Darnold, who still sucks, and the Carolina Panthers. So,
well, Derrick Henry threw
Dante
for a
Pettis.
touchdown, so
Remember
Derrick Henry better.
Bold take. Derrick Henry's better than Dante Pettis.
I meant as a quarterback, but I can see how that sounds. He's honestly, he might be a better wide receiver too, if we're being completely honest with each other. It's a tough situation. It gets really tough. I would not be surprised if he has a great play. People are like, "Oh my God, he's gonna be like OBJ," and then people realize, "Oh wait, that's not how this works. It's the Giants." But we'll see.
Okay, so we're picking 3 running backs here. I'll try to get their matchups as well. So it's Khalil Herbert, Darrell Williams, Damian Harris, Antonio Gibson, Michael Carter, Zach Moss. Khalil Herbert plays Tampa, so that's a no for me. Darrell Williams. Oh, I'm looking at this
Wait,
week.
no, that was this week. Yeah,
last week,
and he did pretty well, didn't he?
Fucking ESPN, dude. Like, why? The week's over. If I hit schedule, go to this week. Okay.
I thought he did well.
Yeah. Khalil Herbert plays San Francisco. Darrell Williams plays the Giants. Damian Harris plays... Where's the Patriots face?
Chargers.
Damian Harris plays the Chargers. That's a good matchup. Antonio Gibson plays Denver. Michael Carter plays Cincinnati. And Zach Moss plays the Dolphins. I would go Zach Moss for sure. I think he gets a touchdown. I'd go Damian Harris for sure. And then not Michael Carter. That's the only spot I'm at right now. I would probably go... Boy. I don't want to trust a bear, but I really like Khalil Herbert. I think that's where I'd go. Even with Antonio Gibson playing Denver. Yeah, I think I'd go not the first 3, I guess. Herbert, Harris, and Moss for me.
I second.
Bills play the Dolphins. I'm going to sub out Zach Moss for Antonio Gibson just to be a little different. Harris with the Patriots goes up against Chargers defense. Dead last in adjusted efficiency against the run. Herbert, I think it's the same kind of case scenario as you guys. We just saw him score 18 fantasy points and have a solid day in a game. The Bears scored 3 total points, and that came against a run defense that going into last week was allowing 54 yards per game. And that was almost 20 fewer than any other team, I'm pretty sure. So I feel like with that, you can say he's matchup proof. So I would have to side with Herbert there as well. And then Antonio Gibson to be different. I don't know what happened to this great Broncos defense that was advertised before the season started, but they were embarrassed last Thursday. And so maybe it's a little recency bias. There could be some positive regression there, but I'm going to ride with what I saw. And when healthy, Gibson is the lead ball carrier in that Washington backfield. So they very well could gash him again.
And Von Miller is up to something, am I right?
Oh, I mean, we figured it out. We cracked the case. We know what he's up to. Now he's going into hiding. He's faking an injury, covering up the emails he leaked. Congratulations, Von.
Jacob Lucier said, I have Matthew Stafford and Jamar Chase. My buddy wants to do a straight-up trade Stafford for Burrow. Should I accept that to get the combo? I think absolutely not. I'm worried about this offensive line. I love the combo, but I'm worried about this offensive line and the way I look at it. If Burrow gets hurt, not only are you out of quarterback, I think Jamar Chase's stock plummets. Not that he's not good without Burrow, but with that many targets, I think the new quarterback is not going to zone in on him as much. So in terms of that combo, I think absolutely not. Have yourself a contingency plan in Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, it's not even contingency plan for me. It's just I think Burrow's, has a timer here. I think he's going to get hurt at some point, and I think Matthew Stafford's going to get hurt at some point too, but I think he's going to keep playing through it, whereas Burrow's still not 100% healthy. He has to do what they're calling prehab to make it sound cute, but it's basically he does rehab before every game so his knee doesn't lock up so he can play football and get killed because his offensive line, while better and while they're scheming it better, still isn't very good. He has to play the Steelers yet again, and they're pissed off, and I'm not confident he's going to make it out alive. And Stafford's just better in every way. The offense is better too. And apparently that's a bold take now, but that's true.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Bengals have Jets, Browns, Raiders, Steelers, Chargers, 49ers, the Ravens again. There are some pretty nasty pass rushes on that upcoming schedule. And I don't know about you guys. Sometimes I tend to avoid stacking outside of, obviously best ball stack is one thing, but I don't like to have a ton of guys from one team on my season long roster. I don't know. I just tend to shy away from it, and maybe it's for this very reason. Like Burrow goes down here, I have no problem with Stafford. I don't know how much of an upgrade it really is at quarterback over the course of the full season, especially if Burrow gets hurt. But injury aside, like how much of an upgrade is it really? I would argue that it's hardly one.
Definitely not. A fake throne came back and said out of those 6 running backs he gave him, should he trade any for wide receiver? If so, which ones? I think Darrell Williams and Michael Carter, if you can package them with the wide receiver 2, get an upgrade, something like that. But I love Herbert, Harris, Gibson, and Moss. Even when Montgomery comes back, I think they're still going to try to utilize Herbert.
They'll utilize him, but yeah, it definitely hurts. If you can sell high on Herbert, I'd love to do it. I'd love to package him with Jacoby Myers, who you say is your wide receiver 2, and try to get a high-end wide receiver 2. Whatever that means. Like, you got to look at who's available. I can't tell you who you should necessarily trade for. I guess I can just look at the leaders right now, but I'm thinking somebody like Deontay Johnson, if you could somehow swing that. Even someone like Chase Claypool, now that Juju's out, I think that's okay. But I think that's the route I would take. Otherwise, yeah, I would definitely package one of those lower guys with Jacoby Myers and try to finagle him that way. Is Teddy worth a pickup? Teddy's not even worth a roster spot. Sorry, Henry. Continue. I'm out on Teddy Bridgewater. Like, I'm done with him being the poster boy of the NFL.
Garbage version of Tyrod Taylor.
That's not even true. That's not true. It's because they're both black. Like, that's the only reason for that. Tyrod's mobile.
No,
Teddy's not even mobile.
It's because neither of them want to take a risk ever. Except Bridgewater did, admittedly, last week and got burned for it multiple times. But
he's not a good player.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's why I said he's a garbage version of Tyrod Taylor. He's garbage.
Yeah, he's also a garbage version of Tom Brady. Like, he's a garbage version of everybody.
He's like
I'll
Tom
take
Brady
Derrick
if he
Henry at
was
quarterback
a
over Teddy
paraplegic,
Bridgewater.
but
Yeah, I mean, kind of
Would
is.
you go?
already.
Would you go as far as Dante Pettis too, or that too far?
No,
I'll
Dante
go Derrick
Pettis shouldn't be
Henry
in the
over
league, dude.
Derrick Henry over Teddy Bridgewater.
I don't think he is. Like we saw it last week, he did not. He tried. Talking to Luke right now. Rush, man. Let's talk about the Packers wide receivers. Obviously, Adams, Lazard out. Adams, I guess, technically may not be yet, but he most likely is. Lazard is out. If I have to pick up a Packers wide receiver on waivers, I have Adams and Rodgers. Amari Rodgers. This is the thing. So Marquez Valdez-Scantling likely going to be activated off a short-term IR. He would technically be the wide receiver 1. Amari Rodgers is going to get more opportunities. However, in Equinemius St. Brown's still going to be there. Jordan Love better than Teddy? Yes. And that's going to be the best compliment I ever give Jordan Love in his career. I like Juwan Winfrey this week quite a bit. Juwan Winfrey is an absolute stud. If he's on any other team in the NFL, he's probably their wide receiver 3. I think he's very, very good. If I had to pick up somebody, I would pick up Winfrey or Cobb. Would I start them with any sort of confidence in anything other than a 16-team league? No. I'd prefer just to avoid the situation altogether. But those are the two I'm highest on for Thursday.
Yeah, I would.
You said
have
no
to
Aaron
be-
Rodgers.
Oh, you have
not
Aaron
the wide
Rodgers? Oh,
receiver.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I would, I would try to avoid it, I guess. It's going to be a lot of 2 running back game.
Yeah, Cobb would be, I guess, the one that I would look to pick up. But obviously, I'm not as much of a Packers expert as you guys. I
Ignore it, Trevor.
am
Ignore
allegedly
it.
a bit of a
I'm
Jets
not-
fanboy, though. So I just wanted to go back to that trade from who had it. Definitely not a fake throne, real quick, and say Michael Carter
That's
is
a
like
fake throne.
generating way too much buzz in from people on Twitter this week. I don't know if that's widespread or just in my little neck of the woods, but if you could sell him in a deal like these lovely 2 to my, what would it be, your left, we're discussing, I'd prefer to move him over Khalil Herbert in a similar trade, just because the Jets are a mess and now they have Joe Flacco and yeah. So if I can somehow swing a trade for a wide receiver 2 and move Carter instead of Khalil Herbert, I would do it. That's all I wanted to say.
Henry, I'm sorry.
Johnny
I'm not laughing
Manziel.
at you. I'm laughing at Luke saying Johnny Manziel deserves a second chance.
I said
and people
ignore
are
it.
Talking about that.
Don't
Yeah.
enable
I
him.
can't. It was too
You know, the
funny.
XFL comes back next spring, and I'd be for it.
No.
Johnny Football in the Rocks XFL. You know what,
I
Luke?
didn't hear you
Luke,
say
I'm with you
ignore.
on
My
that one.
bad, Zach. I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear it either. I thought he was talking about something else.
Let's talk about the Jets. I'd rather talk about the Jets than talk about that scrub
First
of
of all,
a quarterback.
speaking
I couldn't
about-
make it in that
Speaking
fan-controlled football league. He was bad in that.
Speaking about Michael Carter, and if he's trending in just your neck of the woods, yes, because nobody on God's green earth talks about the goddamn Jets outside of East Rutherford.
He was getting pumped. He was
Well,
getting
I'm not
pumped up.
in. I'm not
Like,
in East
people were
Rutherford.
high on him this week.
People
you're high.
actually were yeah,
Really?
he's getting touches in back-to-back weeks, and there's something there, even though Todd
Oh, my
Johnson is
goodness.
still involved, and the Jets' offensive line cannot run block, and it's only going to get worse with Zach Wilson out, and it's just, I'm kind of in a sticky situation in multiple leagues because I have Corey Davis, and I am, kind of backed into a corner here. Am I going to still try and trot him out there as a wide receiver 3? Yeah. Okay.
The Jets just got better today.
You think so?
Honestly,
Yeah.
Because I was hoping you would come with this take because I could see it being a classic Zach take.
However, this is typical Jets. They could have re-signed him, but instead they got to
trade
send a
pick.
5th-round pick away to bring Joe home.
6th.
Joe is home. Now everyone's safe. Everyone feels good inside. They got a quarterback. I like Zach Wilson. They needed to
bring in
keep a
Blake
veteran.
Bortles.
You know what? Yes. But maybe this is Mike White's team still. I don't know. I don't know anything about Mike White. But
Mike White came in and led a touchdown pass.
I
touchdown
They were
drive.
already
I
down by
see
like
it.
40. It was like their third stringers then, I think, right?
No,
Or is that
this was
early?
the first half when Wilson went out. Mike White came in and proceeded to finish the drive and throw a touchdown to Corey Davis. And then he
what did
threw
do
2
the
picks the rest of the game.
I was just
Threw
going to
2
say,
picks.
because I didn't know.
Yeah.
All I saw was Mike White touchdown, and I said, "Who the fuck is Mike White?"
Those were his first regular season actual NFL game snaps on that drive.
Of course, yeah. Of
Never
course they
played
were.
before.
He may have not played football before.
I've never seen tape.
I don't think he's a real person. I think he's like one of those the players they forgot to name that they trotted out there on Madden. He's just like this generic face, generic everything. What's the most generic white quarterback name? Mike White. Throw him in
Like
there.
when
That's all
when
this
Barry
is.
Bonds didn't give him the name rights in MLB 2K, so they named him like Guy Player or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Same thing
All right,
with
well,
Belichick every year in Madden too.
here's the deal. Drafted by the Cowboys in the 5th round in 2018, he played at 2 universities, South Florida and then Western Kentucky, which the college football fan in me actually does remember him at Western
I do
Kentucky.
remember that.
The Hilltoppers were not bad during some of his years there. 26, he's from Pembroke Pines, Florida, and his dad is also named Mike White.
Of course. Yeah.
And he's very white.
So hold up. So he's Mike
Pale.
White and he doesn't go by Mike White Jr. At least that would be a cool name. He doesn't even add the junior.
It's a George Foreman situation. He has 5 brothers also named Mike White. It's okay.
Rushman. Cobb taken. We are 20-player roster league. So how about this? I pick up EQ and amon-ra St. Brown. Or should I just get my bull fired up? Oh. I see what you mean.
Definitely pick up amon-ra.
Yeah. You know what? I'd even say maybe even EQ. I don't like him, but he looked decent the past 2 weeks. And for having nobody else.
Why did we run a sweep with him? What are we doing?
They listened to me saying jet sweep and run motion, and they said, "Oh, we'll give it to him." And before I could say no, they did it. I don't know.
Like EQ's not hurt yet. Let's get him in the open field.
Those bastards knew because they did it right facing me in the red zone, so they knew. They knew I was watching. They said, "Hey, get this." Was not amused to LaFleur.
I would definitely pick up amon-ra St. Brown. I don't want to pick up EQ. He is on the team for special teams. He'll get some offensive snaps. I don't think the loss of Lazard and Adams necessarily promotes his offensive snaps a ton. Like I said, I think Juwann Winfrey is going to get a significant bump. He'll be ruled active and all that. But if amon-ra St. Brown's out there, I feel like there's probably somebody better than Juwann Winfrey out there too. Personally.
Bold take, EQ is going to get 2 touchdowns this week. That's not my fantasy guarantee, but it's my bold take. I think he gets 2 touchdowns. It goes on no logic and no reason, but I'm making it.
You are welcome, Rushman. Do we acknowledge the UNC lover of the chat, or what do we do?
No, we don't.
I think he lost his privileges when he talked about Johnny Manziel.
Just like the middle child. Yeah, just he's not there.
He asked me a question directly, though. I feel like I have to answer it.
Nope.
Is 5 guys?
Mute him, Zach.
No, this is what we'll do. He asked you a question, Henry. Trevor, you answer for Henry. That's all he gets. And then we will move past it and forget this ever happened.
If Henry could have any fast food restaurant, it would obviously be Chipotle, but not just any Chipotle. It would be AJ Brown's Chipotle, so that Henry can then be sick, get off of work for free, and then sue the hell out of him for a lot of money.
This shows how much I am up to date on AJ Brown's Chipotle news.
He's still sick.
I don't even know the story.
Fiery butthole the past couple of weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went to the tent and shit his brains out. It was.
I'm more of a Qdoba guy myself, but
Qdoba is so much better. This is not
It
a
is.
comparison at all.
Oh,
So
yeah.
much better.
but
Never had it.
I
I've
mean,
heard
I
the same.
like money too, so I'm not
Fair.
opposed.
I too like money. Is there any other injury? Okay, I got a bunch of injuries here. Let's see if there's anything.
Okay, he really needs quarterback advice though.
Trevor Lawrence or Heineke for pickup? Heineke.
Heineke plays Denver. Trevor Lawrence plays.
Heineke.
I think I go Trevor Lawrence.
I think matchup wise, I would have to go Lawrence as well, and the Jaguars might have shown some positives in their last game a couple weeks ago.
Is Von Miller out? Where is he?
I
Do we
heard
have
he was
eyes on Von
questionable
Miller?
last time I heard. I don't know why.
If Von Miller's playing, I definitely don't want him. I feel
Heineke's going to juke him out of his socks, man.
Just
like he did to Dean Lowry.
That's true. He did do that to Dean Lowry. Von's day to day. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I don't think there's anything else. Like, there's a waiver wire article on Flurry Sports. There's some significantly good players that are still, available. Carson Wentz is available in 78% of leagues. Cousins is available in 60% of leagues still. Definitely pick him up. I guess something I would say is look at the players who were on bye last week. A lot of people had to drop them to fill their lineup. So players like Kirk Cousins, obviously Vikings, Bills, a lot of good teams on bye last week. There should be a lot of decent players actually out there right now.
Also, we will have our streamers articles on flairsports.org up tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
For
Rushman's also thinks there's a 2-touchdown game for EQ coming.
I saw that. Hey,
you guys are going to be disappointed.
Call me middle square guy for all time because EQ is catching 2 touchdowns and me and Rushman are taking that to the bank. God damn it, Zach. Now I'm right square guy. I don't care. If you're in Australia, I'm left square guy. It doesn't matter. You can't take EQ away from us. I almost said EK. EQ away from us.
Other wide receivers are Corey Davis, KJ Osborne, and Tim Patrick. I mean, I like Tim Patrick. Judy's coming back. I understand that it might mean a couple less snaps, but it also means more snaps against terrible people. So,
I mean,
Tim Patrick's very good.
For what it's worth, I like all 4 of those receivers to some extent. Talking about Corey Davis, Osborne, Tim Patrick, and Sterling Shepard. It's just, are they healthy? And then how's Judy going to impact the Broncos situation? And are the Jets actually going to be better with Flacco under center like we hope? And I guess one of us actually thinks. But yeah, I mean, all of those guys to some extent, yeah, they're under the radar, like decent receivers, I guess. So,
do you think Joe Flacco takes a read option this week?
At least 2.
I hope so.
Me too. I hope he just pulls it from whatever.
Michael Carter. I hope he pulls it from Michael Carter specifically.
Yep. He's just gonna rip it away from, push him to lead block, push
Not
him
today.
right into. Who the Jets play again?
Goes right behind George Fant.
Push him right into Hendrickson. Sacrifice him to Hendrickson, and then he'll spin out of it.
Guys, it's kind of sad. I wanted to go to this game too, but I really don't want to go if I can't watch my rookie franchise quarterback now. So,
shout out to Rushman. I'm just gonna gloss over that. Shout out to Rushman. Thank you for being on the same page. For seeing into the future into EK. I said it again. EQ's big game. He's so good he can't be defined by one name, 2 initials. Can't do it. Can I be back in the middle, please? Yeah. All right.
Feel weird out there. Too much of a breeze coming in from the right.
Yeah, it was weird. The window, man. It's you see it behind me. It's all that breeze coming in now, But now I'm good. So,
since you're in the middle, Trevor, let me ask you a question. And it's fine if you don't have a good answer because let's keep the train.
I always have a good answer, baby.
Well, no. Explain to me why AJ Green is owned in 38% of leagues. I
It
don't get it.
makes no sense. Like, is this ESPN leagues too?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I mean ESPN leagues. If you're in ESPN league, we value you. We really do. And if you're here, you've already taken the first step to be better. But most of the people on ESPN have no clue what they're doing. It's just a fact. I mean, you look at fantasy drafts, they're taking Tom Brady first overall. I mean, that's something people did maybe their first, second year of fantasy, taking quarterbacks in the first round. So as to why AJ Green is rostered in that low of a spot, I would say most because of that. Because you look at his targets, he's got 6 targets every week, but 2, and they are 2 and 3 in those weeks. I mean, as consistent as they come, 3 touchdowns as well. He's nothing fantastic, but you're talking about wide receiver 33, 84th overall. That's a bench spot. That's that's a flex play some weeks in even 10-team leagues. So he should be owning way more.
Henry, you like AJ Green too, I assume, right?
How many? What percentage of leagues did you say he's owned in?
He is owned in 38% as of this morning.
Ah, darn. Okay.
In ESPN,
I thought you said 33, and I was going to really come in with a clever that he has 35 targets on the season, which is more than the percentage of leagues he's owned in. But I guess it's just
We'll go
3
with it.
targets short.
Yeah.
But his 3.4 fantasy points per touch is tied for 15th among receivers, and this is courtesy of the stat charts
PFF.
over on flurrysports.org. So you should go look at those because they actually help me with a lot of my fantasy discussion and actual decisions too. So I don't know why AJ Green is still that widely available.
Also, real quick, he's only rostered by 70% even on Sleeper. And usually Sleeper is quicker to the draw. So that seems low too.
Such a big jump, though. That's so weird.
Was it not just a year ago that people were like still thought AJ Green could be the old AJ Green that everyone remembered, and now it's like he changes teams and okay, he's playing in a better offense with probably about the same quarterback, we'll say for now, and better receivers around him who are going to draw, especially in DeAndre Hopkins' case, a team's top corners, that he should undoubtedly be better than he was, and he's not injured anymore. So, like, I don't get it.
Yeah, he's pretty much an every snap guy, too. And yeah, 60
it was like 98% a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he's got 60-plus yards in 4 of the past 5 weeks. He's got 3 touchdowns on the season. He's seeing consistent. It's the Corey Davis thing from last year. I mean, he's seeing cornerback 2 coverage for the first time in his entire NFL career. That includes high school. That includes college. That includes Pee Wee. I'm assuming, because I assume AJ Green was 6 foot when he was in 3rd grade, absolutely killing, mossing every little Pee Wee football player. So, I mean, he's enjoying this off coverage for the first time in his career, and it's thriving, obviously. Okay, we'll acknowledge Luke. I think you're correct. Henry's in Trevor's in the chat.
Well played,
It's
Luke.
not true. Rushman is not my burner. He's just a now close personal friend. Tamian Bashkarov. I hope I didn't butcher that. I apologize if I did. Holy shit. Justin Jefferson, Higgins, and Jacobs for Ridley. Johnson, I'm assuming Deontay and Dalvin Cook. I have Eckler, Kamara, Henderson, Hill, Lamb, AB, AJB.
So
Jesus. Don't need
I like
QB,
the chat room.
tight end.
Trevor. This is good.
JJ is my receiver 2 right now. Is it worth the trade? This guy just wants JJ. I would. If that's Deontay Johnson, I definitely would. What about you guys?
Yeah, if we have all the players correct there and it's Deontay, I think definitely do it. It's just a matter of health with everybody involved. Deontay Johnson, though, is still a fringe wide receiver 1-2. Dalvin Cook's an obvious running back 1. And Calvin Ridley, I think it's safe to say he's a wide receiver 2, right? So, yeah, I think definitely go for it.
I apologize that I butchered your name that bad. I thought I did a decent job, but clearly I did not. So I
thought so too.
apologize.
I mean, I think I insulted the German guy earlier trying to speak German. So I think you're doing better than me.
I'm trying here. I'm trying. I'll be best.
I have
You know
no
anything
issues with that.
Henry?
Yeah, I have no issues with that, taking that trade either.
Okay. Yeah, you are welcome. Henry, pronounce his name. You go for it now.
That's mean. Zach, you should have to do it. What are you trying to do? You're making this into a game? It's the man's name. Or woman's name. We don't judge. Oh, that sounds better than mine. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay, we're going to go with that. Other people from the article. I don't know. Are you guys rushing to pick up Russell Gage? I'm not personally.
Because I still hate him for getting me 0 and losing me in week 1 as my flex. So I hate you, Russell Gage. But I also still have a nice place in my heart for you. So maybe later, but not. It's too early. And I feel like they finally decided, hey, Pitts is a good target. Let's pass it to him more. So I'm worried about that and Ridley, and I just don't see enough firepower for a third guy, or even fourth if you count Cordero.
Yeah, I'm with Trevor. I would sooner explore trading for Kyle Pitts than I would spending fab or like even a waiver turn on Russell Gage. Panthers, Saints, Cowboys, Patriots are the next 4 for Atlanta too. So that offense is not going to, I don't think, replicate what we've seen from them the last 2 games.
I mean, if Adams is out, I think Gage is fine to pick up. I just don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's going to be a consistent role. Last year it was. This year they've proven time and time again that they don't want it to be. So I just don't trust Atlanta right now. I don't know what to make of their offense. I thought they were tanking. Apparently Matt Ryan is refusing to tank. I don't know. He's not playing by the rules.
He got into one Tide commercial and said, no. I can't let Atlanta ruin my reputation, ruin my future ad prospects. I got to start winning.
Now, be honest, Zach. You just would rather have Olamide Zacchaeus because of the name.
I would. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, that's a guy. Like, I don't hate Russell Gage. I hate that guy because I'm pretty sure I lost a GPP because of him because he went off and I didn't know who he was. Good.
Zacchaeus. Where is Zacchaeus stands here? Olamide Zacchaeus for governor.
You and EK.
EK, same thing.
Yeah. CJ Uzama is going to be another popular pickup this week, obviously, with the tight end position being extremely inconsistent and shitty. I'm going to say CJ Uzama is inconsistent. He's not shitty, but I really liked him coming into this year. I wasn't as high on some of the other wide receivers after seeing the wide receivers play well. Uzama is Robert Tonyan from last year. If he scores a touchdown, great. If he doesn't, you're gonna be pretty upset. So, like, he's just not a guy I want to chase. Obviously, if I had, I don't know who's a tight end that's on that radar. If for some reason I'm trying to trust Evan Engram, I would rather go Uzama. Tonyan, I'd rather go this week, but Tonyan next week, I'd rather go Uzama. You know, I like Van Jefferson.
I do too.
Cole Kmet. I'd probably go Uzama. I think they're really close, though, actually. I like Van Jefferson, though. He's a stud. Pick him up. Go for it.
You know, this is the second week that Uzama's been tight end 1 in PPR leagues. Both times he was tight end 1, he had to score 2 touchdowns to get there. So, like, that just kind of tells you, like, I mean, I like him as a player too, but in terms of, like, that sort of boom fantasy production, he needs to find the end zone twice. He's just not getting the target share, and he also has a terrible average yards per catch before his big catch from out of nowhere this week. So for a streamer option, he's great. But outside of that, like, I'm not rushing to grab him on waivers unless, like, I'm desperate at the position.
We have another question. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name because I'm going to butcher it, and I don't want to do that to you. But he lists his
RJ.
team, or she lists his team. And what do you guys think of trading Cordero, Patterson, and Antonio Brown for Saquon? I want to touch it. Saquon, I don't trust. I think your team is good as it is. Leave it there. I do question how many teams are in your league, though, because either you are in a league that is smaller or you are clearly the smartest person in your league. And I'm curious to know which one it is. No shame on either one, but if it's like a 10-team league, props.
Yeah, to your point, I don't think, like, with the way your team's set up, I don't think you need to take a chance. 8 teams. Like, even still, though,
Yeah,
I
that's
think you
pretty
have a good
good.
team. I wouldn't, like, right now, if you do that trade, you're taking a chance and hoping Saquon Barkley, 1, gets and stays healthy, and then 2, has success consistently. Like, if I'm doing a trade with the guys you have, I'm looking for a for sure upgrade, and I think you're rolling the dice on that.
Right with you guys. Patterson is, like, I feel like people are still too low on Patterson for what he has been and what he's, by all things I've seen, going to continue to be, whether the Falcons win games or not. So, and I really like Antonio Brown. I still stand by Mike Evans as being the odd Buccaneers receiver out of the 3 when healthy. I know he did great this week, but 3 touchdowns. So still Godwin and Brown there for me.
I'm trying to sort out my thoughts on what I'm about to say here, so let me talk through it out loud, and I apologize if it sounds stupid. Probably will. I think I would be more willing to trade away Antonio Gibson than Cordero Patterson. I don't think Antonio Gibson's better. I don't think his role is better with that offensive line. I think I can get more for Antonio Gibson as well. Like, I would be more willing to trade Gibson for Saquon than do that trade.
Antonio
Personally.
Gibson reminds me, I completely agree with that. I think Antonio Gibson is a better version of last year's Kenyon Drake. He has a floor that's there, but his ceiling is nothing good. JD McKissick is going to take a bunch of points away in running and receiving. When they go down a lot, JD McKissick's going to be there. I mean, he's still got a hairline fracture in his shin. I don't know how the hell he's even playing on that. I'd assume it gets worse. I'd assume he misses a lot of time. So I completely agree too. Cordero's he's got a role, and clearly Mike Davis is not going to take that away anytime soon. So trade away Gibson.
I dislike that almost just as much. I think, like I know it's been disappointing for Gibson so far, but I feel like a big part of that is, he hasn't found the end zone. So I'm just looking at the stats chart around Flurry Sports. He's also been banged up too, which I have to attribute like some of the poor production to him playing through injuries. But 121 total looks, I guess we'll call them, because that's what the table calls them. And he's the only running back below 100 total fantasy points scored on the year to have over 110 looks. Everyone else, 117 is Aaron Jones. Everyone else with more than 110 is like 100 fantasy points or more. Gibson's at 91.2. I know McKissick has a role. The looks are still there though, and I don't know. I feel like the role is there. Patterson's down at 87. I think Patterson has more potential to, what's the right way to say it, do more with his touches, and we've seen that. Just look at fantasy box scores. But I'm still holding out hope for Gibson. I know it's been disappointing. I wouldn't do that trade, I don't think, either way. And part of that's Saquon Barkley's been more hurt than Gibson, and I still would rather have Gibson in the Washington offense.
What makes you think
I
Gibson's
don't know
going
if
to get
any of
better,
that made
though?
any sense. What's that?
It made sense. I just don't know why you think Gibson would get better, though.
I don't know that I necessarily think he's going to get that much better. But when you're getting that kind of workload, there's a stable enough floor where like I'm not rushing to go out and sell him unless you're able to sell high, right? Like if someone's still buying Antonio Gibson from last year and what his ADP was, like I'm down to sell that based on what he's been, and I'm not sure it's going to get a ton better. But with that kind of workload, even with McKissick being involved, like that's one of the reasons like I could almost consider him a buy low if you have a manager who's freaking out and wants to get rid of him because he's not producing what he thought he was going to. Gibson's still getting the touches. So it depends on your need, I guess, in the situation, right? Like what you need him to do. But for that team where you have DeAndre Swift, Chubb, Patterson as well right now, Edwards-Helaire when he gets back, I mean, Gibson, with the way he's been, he's probably like your flex at best right now. And like I'm comfortable with what he's been giving me, I guess, in the flex. You know? I don't know.
I'm not saying you're wrong because I mean if he might get better or whatever. I think I disagree on every point. Like
Okay.
and again, this isn't an argument. This is a good conversation.
No, I know.
Like with that team, there is no scenario where you feel good starting Antonio Gibson ever. At least with Saquon, either he's hurt or he's playing. Like there's at least more clarity with him. When he plays, he's better. When he plays, he's going to be the every down guy. We're looking at Antonio Gibson. Obviously, we're like, I don't know if they're down. I guess J.D. McKissick's the receiving role guy. Inside the 5-yard line, McKissick's gotten 3 carries. Gibson's gotten 6. And then they don't pass it to them in the red zone either. So there's just as much opportunity for McKissick to score a touchdown than Gibson. And they're not scoring touchdowns. Like they're just not getting there because their offense is so bad. The offensive line is bad. The quarterback is bad. The receivers outside of McLaurin is bad. They're playing easy matchups and they're still not doing anything. We see at least Saquon's going to rack up if it's a half PPR league. I think he gets more points from receptions than Gibson would get. I just don't see any scenario where I would ever start Antonio Gibson the rest of the season. And we've already seen Saquon at least do something. So once he's back, once he's healthy, I think there's an opportunity he can at least score a touchdown.
Okay. So I like those points, and I can get on board with a lot of them. I guess my question would be, and this is coming from a guy who, again, was more bullish on Saquon coming into the year than both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off the injury, Gibson's playing behind a bad Washington offensive line. Okay, the Giants' offensive line, I would argue, is worse.
Disagree.
I like Daniel Jones. I don't like the play calling. The receiving core is a disaster as far as injuries go. The only, I guess, argument for me there is when he is on the field and healthy, he's the guy. He doesn't have a McKissick flashing in when they're trailing on passing downs, etc. But even so, based on the situation around him, looking at these other running backs on this team, I don't know how comfortable I am even starting Saquon. Now, I don't know how many backs start in this league, but I would be starting Swift, Chubb, and Patterson basically every week over him right now. And I think if Edwards-Helaire gets back and is healthy and the Chiefs figure it out, which, you know, that's a whole nother conversation, I don't know. Am I guess, out of line in saying that? Like, in a normal situation, no. Barkley's starting. In this case, I don't know how much appeal he has compared to Gibson. And I guess just looking at the team I drafted here, my basic argument is I'm just down to stand pat either way. You know.
And that's fine. What I would point to is Devonte Booker's performances the last 3 weeks, and I think everyone would agree Devonte Booker's nowhere near Saquon Barkley. Booker's ran for 40-plus yards each of the past 3 weeks. He's gotten 3, 4, and 2 for receptions. He scored 3 touchdowns in these 3 games. Yeah, and you just plug in, and those are against. He did that against the Panthers. He went 51 yards, a touchdown, 2 receptions, 15 yards against the Panthers this week. And there's no wide receiver threats. If this team gets healthy, this offense, despite the play calling being from Madden 2003, it's not that bad. Like it's a pretty good offense.
Well, you could actually argue that favors the running back too, with play calling from 2003, because
Fair.
People ran the ball more back then. I mean, I don't know. Again, like you're Gibson finding the end zone away from, like, even just in 2 more games from his fantasy point total, like, looking a lot better. And I think a lot of people like feeling a lot better about him. 3 touchdowns, and all 3 came in 2 games this year. So, I mean, if we want to argue touchdowns, like, I don't know. Are the Giants really going to score that many more touchdowns than Washington? Maybe, if they get healthy and keep going. I could agree with you on that. I feel like we've gone way too far down the rabbit hole.
Probably.
Because
I got lost so long ago. I've just been looking up stats on the running backs, trying to get myself back in, but then I lose focus again, and then you're on a different tangent, and I have to find more stats, and it's a never-ending circle. It's tough being in the middle, man. It's tough.
You want to go back out to the right then, or
no? I like
pick
it
a
here. It's
spot,
nice and
Trevor.
cozy.
Jeez,
Nice and cozy.
Anyway, they played against really tough defenses for running backs. Anyways, okay, so Luke has a real question. Trade Jamar Chase for Aaron Jones right now. Got Devonte, DK, Hopkins, Hollywood. Yeah, I think I would.
Yep.
Thank you, RJ, for subbing. I appreciate it. Hit the notification bell if you would be so kind as well. We'll be live tomorrow. Don't want to miss that. We'll be doing a fantasy football show tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central. Fuck, Luke.
Joke's on you.
Okay. Oh my god.
Who is this guy? Why is he so
He's an
savage in our
asshole.
chat?
Hey, if you want to see who this guy is, tune in tomorrow. He'll be here tomorrow at 7?
Yes.
7?
Yeah.
Right? I always get confused in the time, even though it's the same time. 7 for that.
Eastern.
And then 8. Nobody cares about Eastern. No. 7 Central, 8 Eastern. He is right. And then 8 Central, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern for Lombardi Sweep.
6 Mountain Time though for the fantasy football show. A lot of Mountain Time.
5 Eastern,
And that would,
or Western. What is it in Hawaii though?
I think that would be 4 Alaskan time. So just
Alaska time.
bear with us up there in Juneau. We're a little early. I know you're still getting off the 9 to 5. You got an hour left, but hey, you can spend that last hour of the workday with the.
How about that 14-year-old swimmer from Juneau, huh? Look at you, Alaska. One Olympic-sized swimming pool.
What are
Crazy.
we talking about? What happened?
Shout out Alaska.
I look for the Honolulu clock, and suddenly we're talking about an Alaskan swimmer.
What's the time zone for Honolulu?
Hawaii is 5 hours behind us, so it would be 2 Hawaiian time.
Does it say what it's called, like the time zone for that?
I can look it up.
That's something I don't know.
Hawaii's time zone called
Hawaii
Aleutian time zone. So
Aleutian, spell Aleutian.
Aleutiin. It does not observe daylight savings. Did you guys know that? Neither does Philadelphia.
I did.
Or no, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. State, not the cities. My bad. But yeah, West Lands.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Did you mean Indiana?
No, Pennsylvania, because they don't in Pittsburgh at least.
I lived in Philly for 2 years. We do.
Well, Pittsburgh doesn't. I don't know what the fuck they're doing in Pittsburgh.
I think you mean Indiana.
No, because my sister could be wrong. My sister's not very smart, anyways. But
it's definitely not Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah,
Pennsylvania's like right below me, Trevor.
Poor Pennsylvania.
That's the show. I think we're good. Let's go out on that note.
That basically sums it up, right?
Yeah, so everyone in Hawaii Aleutian time will be 2 p.m. tomorrow will be the Fantasy Football Show. So
Woohoo.
mark your clocks. Watch us on the beach. Did you have something to say, Trevor?
I just said woohoo for Hawaii. You know?
Oh, I thought you were getting excited about something. I traded Zach Ertz and Corey Davis for Antonio Brown.
Good.
Nice. That's a good trade. Good for you.
Bye.
He doesn't have Joe Flacco throwing to him, but
It's a good trade.
I'd still say good trade. For the people who have Zach Ertz, if for some reason somebody views him as a top 10 tight end, trade him. Do it. But yeah, let's go out on that. We'll be back tomorrow. More fantasy football stuff. Subscribe. Bye.